what happened was, first of all, we had a great match. I don't know if you ever saw that on film. For two big guys, we were moving like featherweights in there. We were really doing a lot of great arm dragging and different like that. And when the finale came, Koloff caught me as I was coming off of the ropes. He caught me with a knee to the stomach, and then he picked me up and he gave me a big body slam. He immediately ran up the top rope, and he came flying off with his 290-pound body weight, and he came down with a knee drop on my neck. Well, he hit me hard. He really did. But then it was this dead silence, and I really thought that the blow that I took did something to me, because I'm expecting the boos.
Yeah.
Because, here's this bad Russian, he beats me. And I've been the fan favorite now for all these years, right? 8 straight years. So I thought, my God, what happened? I can't hear nothing. But then and I'm laying there in the ring. Arnold Skolin came over, and he said to me, Bruno, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I heard him perfectly. I heard him so clear. I thought, what the heck's going on? So slowly I get myself up, still silence it can be, and I'm still so confused. I don't understand what's going on. What is happening? But as I made my way finally out of the ring, and I'm starting to walk toward the garden, the dugout to get into the garden, I actually heard people, tears, and some of them say, Bruno, we still love you. You'll always be number one, and this and that. And I saw some women crying. Oh my God, that touched me so deeply. I can't tell you. When I went in the dressing room, I was very depressed. Mm-hmm. I thought I was glad to get this load off of my back, being champion, But my God, I didn't know that the fans were going to feel that. I didn't expect that. I thought there'd be a lot of boos, because Koloff beat me, and they're going to boo him, and so forth. And who knows, maybe have a good security to get him out of there, stuff like that. But I never expected what happened. It was such a shocker. And it really did. It made me feel bad, because when I was in the dressing room, I said, boy, I really let these people down tonight. I didn't know that it was going to be like that,
Wow. Now, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you did wrestle Lou Thesz in Canada?
Yes.
Yeah? What are your memories of wrestling Lou Thesz?
I thought it was a good match.
Yeah.
I thought we had a very good match, as a matter of fact. I don't know what to say about it, other than I thought the match was very good. Mm-hmm. I heard some things about it years later, kind of surprised me. What I heard, somebody said that Lou Thesz said that.
Well, that's my next question. I asked you this before,
okay.
and let me, and we've talked about this before, but let's talk about this, in this forum. Lou Thesz, when he wrote his book, he told a story in his book that you guys were going to, unify the belts at one point.
Oh, that's
okay. He says in his book, the deal fell through because he wanted too much money.
That's not true. That's absolutely not true. Maybe he believes that. I don't know. Yeah. But I know for a fact that that's absolutely not true. I'll tell you why the thing didn't go off. It went off because of me that the thing didn't go. And I'll tell you why. When Vince McMahon and Tootsmond were meeting with Sam Mushnick and Bobby Bronze, I think, was the other party, and it may have been somebody else, because I was never in any of those meetings, and I was never included in any of it. And so I didn't always know who was all. I did hear that Thesz was in one or two of those meetings. Mm-hmm. I was never invited. I knew nothing, okay? But I did know that there was something going on about unifying the belt, unifying the title. And you see, and the reason why this was coming about, by the way, which is important that maybe people in Europe didn't know, was that NWA had been the number one organization for a long time. But the WWF all of a sudden got so big that here I'm in demand in Japan, in Australia, I toured South America, and it became the magazines, there were like 9 magazines, mostly out of New York, and I'm on the cover of 6 and 7 of them, and everything was the WWF World Champion. So that we became actually the number one organization, and we were the biggest at the time. So I think that had something to do why the agreement unification as far as the NWA goes. Tootsmond was never for it, but Vince McMahon was for it. Okay, he thought it'd be okay in his heart. He believed it would probably be a good thing, and I don't know, maybe it was. But what happened was then that I was never in any of these meetings, and a gentleman named Phil Zacco, who was part of that organization with McMahon and Tootsmond and that, he wasn't a partner, but he was like a local promoter for them, and he did, I think, some of the accounting work for them, but he was part of the organization.
Okay.
He was a good guy, Phil. I liked Phil Zacco, and Phil Zacco said to me, because I used to complain to Phil sometimes, we'd get together. Phil was a Syrian. He had his background from Syria, so he felt that I was a foreigner. We were both foreigners, so we had something in common.
Yeah,
and so he felt an attachment, and we were friends. And he said to me, he says, "Kid, you always, with the cigar, he says, listen, kid," he says, "I got something to tell you." He says, "You know that there's a lot of talk going on about unifying Thailand." He says, "I told Vince and Toots that they should talk to you about it too." He says, because right now, he says, what they're talking about that they're having a problem with, he said, Sam Mashnik feels that they have to have something like 17 dates on the champion to accommodate places with the NWA. Vince feels that because the Northeast got the most major arenas, he feels that he needs like 18 days or something. And he says, and this is a stumbling block because they're talking about like a 35, 36-day date. There's only 30 days or 31 days in a month.
Right.
So he said to me, he said, they might come up with a deal here. He says, and then they're going to expect you to go along. And it means, kid, he says, you don't ever see your family now. You won't see them at all because it'll mean every day, Sundays and everything included. So then I went to, on a Thursday where we can do the live TV out of Washington. I came in early that day. I came in from wherever, I don't remember. And I had a meeting with Toots and Vince. And Willie Gilzenberg, I beg your pardon, he was there too. And I said, look, I just want to make something clear. I understand about these meetings that are being held. I said, and I understand too, I said that the question is, who gets what days, whatever. I says, and I don't care about that. I said, that's between you people, you and the NWA people. I said, to work out the dates. I says, but let me be clear about one thing. I says, I've been getting 2 days out of the month to see my family. I says, that's not good enough. I said, I want 4 days. Because I had spoken to Frank Tani and I told him of my dilemma. And Frank Tani said, I understand. He says, it's okay. He says, you don't have to come here every couple of weeks. So I said, so I'm clear for 4 days. I said, I don't care how you guys work out these the remaining days. I said, but Sundays are mine for my family. I said that Tootsmond immediately spoke up and he said, see, Vince, he says, why do you want any part of that? He says, we're doing so good. He says, the only reason why they want to unite is because they're not doing as good. They got an old champion who's not drawing anywhere anymore. Right. He said, why in the world are you even thinking that? He says, no, he says, how are you going to get what with the 26 days? 26 days, well, we're talking 13 days each, and they're talking 18 and 17, Yeah. So I found out, and I said my piece, I made it very clear, and I left. And then I found out that the Toots and Vince and Gilzenberg, and because Phil Zacco told me about it, they met, and they said, well, we're not going to sacrifice our major clubs, because we have more major clubs than any other territory, for this, if we're not going to have Bruno to work our club. So that killed the deal. That's what killed the deal. I heard stories later. One was that Luthez wanted the Dick Hutton to be the champion. Another one, I heard that he wanted $100,000 down now. Another one, what was another story that I heard about that? Was that Tootsmond didn't like Luthez and Luthez didn't like Tootsmond, and that's what broke the thing up. I'm sorry, it's all nonsense, because I know that the stumbling block was the dates. Who was going to get how many dates. And when I took away from them those 4 Sundays, that's what killed the deal. And that's exactly what happened.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.